I've got a big box of new stuff from Journalsay and I can't wait to show you what's inside. Whether you're looking for new stationery to set up your journal themes for the rest of the year, or if your stationery cupboards are full, you're on a no-buy and you just want to live vicariously through me, I've got stickers, I've got tapes, I've got pens, I've got some really interesting little cutting tools, so much cool stuff to show you. Hi, it's Erin, let's talk stationery. Journalsay are a discount stationery store based out of China that curate a massive collection of stationery with new arrivals every Saturday on the site, so there's always something new to see. I'm posting this video on the 30th of May and Journalsay are having a really big sale for their anniversary at the moment, but it's going to end like one day after I post the video, so I wanted to mention some of the prices in this video will likely change after the sale ends versus the screenshots that I show you. But never fear, there is a discount code for the sale that gets you 7% off. I have a discount code that will get you 8% off, so even if the sale's over, I can save you some money. Just pop in my code Erin at checkout, and that is an affiliate code, so I will make a little bit of money if you use it. And for full disclosure, Journalsay have also kindly supplied me with all of the items I'm showing you in this video. I've divided this video up by stationery category like stickers and washi tapes and pens and so on, so you can use the chapters down below to find the appropriate parts of the video that interest you if you would like. Now let's dive in and start looking at all of these items up close. Starting with stickers, arguably my favorite category. I've got two from the same listing here of these retro dictionary word stickers. I'm not a huge fan usually of text in my journal, but these ones have this gold gilding and they are all kind of magical little phrases and quotes, and so I thought I'd give these ones a go. They do have other colors available as well, but these are the ones that I like the look of and were in stock at the time that I was placing my order. Let's take a closer look at the lettering here. Look at this beautiful gold reflection, and I love that it's kind of a gothic font as well. This one's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, which is really nice. Not all of them have the gold gilding on the lettering, some of them are just white, but those are also still quite pretty, so I'm okay with it. You get two of each design, and they are quite small. The quote ones are a little bit bigger, obviously, than the ones that just have one or two words on them. But if I was using these all throughout a journal theme, I actually think I'd probably need 2 packs to get me all the way through. Let's have a look at the green version now. These ones have little pine cones and flowers in the backgrounds versus the stars and moons of the previous. They are definitely giving forest exploration fairy girl vibes a little bit, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, if you will. It's like, let's take our field notes and make them super romantic, you know? At $1.26 US at the sale price, these are very reasonable to grab 2 sets of, so I would recommend that if you're going to use them in a bullet journal. I liked the look of this next set so much that I got them in every colorway because they just look so pretty. I actually grabbed a sticker set in a similar style to these in my most recent Journalsay haul before this one, and then used the heck out of it in the mystery journal for August, so look forward to seeing that, but now I don't have anything like it in my collection anymore, so these are here to replace it and make sure I don't run out anytime soon. The imagery on these is quite domestic. There are lots of chairs and curtains and umbrellas and tables and that kind of thing. Once again, you get 2 of each sticker design in the set, and the holographic reflection on these is so captivating. Look at that. There is something about a drapey, lacy curtain kind of a situation on a sticker that just speaks to my soul, so look forward to seeing these ones in my journal probably pretty soon. I've left the packaging for each of these kind of visible in the left side of the frame here so that you can see which particular stickers relate to which of the packaging colors, because sometimes it's not always that easy to tell. And the way that Journalsay makes their product listings doesn't always make it clear which item is which color or anything either, so I wanted you to be able to make that connection in case one of these sticker sets caught your eye but not the rest. If you were planning a wedding, I do think these stickers would be phenomenal for it, especially the white set is especially giving wedding, but like look at these are arbors that you would stand under to be married, right? So the vibes are there, but they don't have to be wedding related either. They can just be beautiful floral arches, fantasy, fairy tale kind of vibes. There are some trellises with flowers growing up them too. Actually, quite a few butterflies tucked into all of these designs as well, which we know is not my favorite, but they're subtle and they're small and they're shiny, so I'll let it slide this time. The green set has a lot less curtain going on and a lot more general floral arrangement. There are still a couple of curtains going on there. Honestly, some of them I had to really think about to work out which direction they were supposed to go. A little bit more of a witchy vibe maybe for these ones, because are those crystals over there on the right? They look like a geode of some sort or something, I don't know. I do know that they're pretty and they're shiny and I really like them. This icy purpley blue set that I'm about to show you next I think is my favorite of the set. Very delicate, very kind of silver vibes, not a lot of contrast going on. There's a carousel, which definitely gives this sticker set will heal my inner child. I actually think this set would have been perfect in the August Mystery Journal setup that you haven't seen yet that I mentioned earlier, teasing, but I didn't have it yet at the time, so it's not in there, but it is quite similar to the one that I used, sort of. Look at this crescent moon candle floral combination. That is absolutely magical, so much so that even my cat Mitsu had to come and check it out. Last one for the set of 6, this one is the purple variety, and we're moving back to Curtain Town because there are lots of curtains going on here. In the past, I've had some issues with some of the stickers from Journalsay being not quite cut right. Maybe the cut would lose some of the design. I haven't had that problem with this lot, which is very nice because I do want to use the heck out of these. But most of the stuff on Journalsay isn't actually manufactured by them. They source it from a lot of the same sort of sticker wholesalers that some of the other discount places do, so you can sometimes find this stuff on other places, which can be useful because things disappear from Journalsay sometimes with absolutely no warning, and some of the items in this video may even be in that situation as well. So advance apologies if anything I'm showing you is no longer available. I'll keep my fingers crossed that it is though. This next set falls into my personal category of slightly dubious item from Journalsay because I'm personally trying to avoid buying stationery that has artwork on it that is AI generated, and these ones fall into a grey area for me where I can't totally tell. I think they're really pretty. These are actually stickers, by the way. These are in the sticker category on purpose because these are whole washi sheets. They are sticky on the back, you can peel them up, but a couple of these designs look really hand-drawn to me and some of them don't. So the one I'm putting down in the middle here is kind of a worry for me. Some of the line work in the middle there, see how it's really like asymmetrical and a bit wonky? That is usually a tell for me for AI. I'm not certain. I don't know. Maybe if you're more versed in this than me, you can comment down below with what you think. I'm just not sure. Like, that could be done by a person. It could also not. I hope it's done by a person. I think it's really pretty if it is. Isn't it wild that we can't just look at art and enjoy it anymore because we need to assess it for the risk of AI if you're trying to avoid it like me? Like, I don't know, that's taken some of the joy out of this process for me, unfortunately. I miss the days when art was purely a human pursuit, but we are where we are. Definitely a very nice little set of designs though, and from a practical standpoint, having a not quite A5 sized sheet like this that is fully decorated already is like a fast track ticket to a journal cover spread without you really having to do anything. So excellent cheat sheet for journal decoration speediness if that is something you're interested in. Obviously, I got the full set of 6 designs again this time, but you can just get one if you prefer the look of one of them. These ones are all very different colors, so it's a little bit easier to see which is which on the website. And the illustrations across them all are quite different as well. So this one that we're looking at currently is the one for the witchy gals. This one's got the moons and the stars and the sky. Also some flowers, because stationery like always just seems to have flowers, always and always. I'm not mad at it. I love a flower on my stationery. One last set to show you here, and these ones have a very different illustration style to the rest as well, because they have some critters. So a butterfly, we've got a beetle, kitty cat with huge eyes, a proud sitting kitty sitting pretty, and a cute little fox as well. But they're all kind of cosmic and they're all dripping in crystals and sparkles, and it's just so interesting. Washi sheets, very fun. In extremely recent weeks, I have noticed some items popping up on Journalsay site that are Journalsay branded, so I think they are moving into manufacturing some of their own stuff, but be warned, I think most of them under this Journalsay branded heading are super AI generated, and I would steer clear of most of them. But this one with the dragons looked like it might be okay, so I grabbed this one to have a look. They are really nicely cut stickers, they're really opaque on PET. I don't know if I can entirely tell from the artwork though. Again, let me know what you think. Let me show you something now that I am obsessed with and can't stop thinking about and plan to use in my journal at the earliest opportunity. These are adorable, also stickers. When you have a look later, you'll think that they're just paper, but they're not. I promise they're stickers. I checked. And they're all in beautiful pastel stained glass frame designs, and I am in love with them. Once again, set of 6, I got them all. You might think of sparkly things when you think of stained glass, but these ones are actually a matte kind of paper sticker, kind of a little on the thicker side actually, but I think that's because of the detail of the die cut of some of them. It needed to be a fairly thick sticker to support the structural design, because some of them do have little fine areas that are cut and tenderly off the edges. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. Like the one I'm going to put on the bottom left there, see how it's got those little archway bits at the top? Those are cut separate to the bits around them, so they needed some structural integrity, hence thicker paper. I love that they all kind of have the feeling of being precious gemstones. That one's a little bit bent, unfortunately. And this is me checking if there were stickers. On this check, it didn't quite work out, and I was like, oh, it must just be paper, but I checked again once I saw the product listing, and yes, they are definitely stickers. They do peel off the back. These ones have a mother of pearl vibe. I feel like the set I showed you before this were giving amethyst. And if you were working with one of these stickers with a really fiddly bit around the outside like this, I would advise you to peel that backing off so carefully so as not to rip things up, because you want this sticker to sit down nice and flat. The blue set have less of that kind of thing going on, so you're going to run into less trouble with tearing there, but the white set had lots of them going on. This pink set also seemed to have lots of them, and I think it's probably not the end of the world if something does rip a little bit. Like, you can try and reassemble it on your page when you're sticking everything down, and sometimes you can make it look like no mistake ever happened, but there are lots of little bent bits here. I had to be really careful putting them back in their packaging to store them. Feel like it's going to be worth it though, because I love these. I think they're so pretty. This green set are the last of this set of 6 stickers, and they're also the last of our sticker category for this video. Some of them aren't super clear about which way is up versus which way is down, so you might have to use your own discretion on some of them. These ones particularly are quite Art Nouveau vibes, and so the square ones or the circular ones, I guess you could put however you want. These ones are giving a bit of a jade vibe too, which I think is lovely. Onward to our next category, which is PET and washi tapes. Let's begin with another set of 6. These ones are gold foil continuous lace design PET tapes. Also available individually if just 1 or 2 take your fancy. I've gone for the whole set because I wanted to see what all of them looked like swatched on a page. And I do kind of wish I had these out and ready to go when I was setting up my new journal for the second half of the year, because I was saying I don't have that much gold stationery. Guess what this is? It's gold stationery. Would have been great. That's okay. I just hadn't opened the box yet. I have a whole system for video admin when I'm making a video like this, and if I open the box and take things out before I've shot everything for the whole video, I will lose all of it, so I couldn't mess up my system. I think these would be so spectacular on the edge of a Dutch door, especially one of this kind of scallop shaped ones, and then cutting around the shape of the scallop. I think that would be spectacular. Very impressed with the variety of lace designs here. They definitely have the ones that are giving doily versus some that look a little bit more modern. They do genuinely look gold in person too. I feel like the camera's not hitting the light quite right, so they're kind of coming up just looking black on camera, but look at the little sheen in the light there. You can see the gold peeking through. That's what they look like to your eye. I promise they don't actually look black. Probably best viewed in natural light, but I was filming at night, so what are you going to do? We're going to stick to the lace theme for a little bit longer. These ones are pre-cut washi stickers, and they're in the lace border series. I went for the colours Afternoon, which is the chocolatey brown, and Sweet, which is the muted pink. These ones are cross-categorical because they're on a tape, but they're actually stickers. So you can call them what you prefer. I put them in the tape section because that made the most sense to me. But they're actually cut in 2, or sometimes, depending on the tape, 3 little sections. So you have a middle part and an outer part that you can layer or keep together as you like, or separate and use as frames, whatever makes you happy. I find this kind of thing really versatile in a journal, because then obviously you can use the frame as a frame and use the other part as decoration. You can put something functional in the frame. I think they'd be really cute with a book cover inside for a reading journal theme. So adorable. Also, the sandy kind of beige colour of some of the frames and the edges on them are making me think of Nice biscuits, which is really funny. You get stacks of these on the roll, and because every sticker is actually kind of 2 stickers, I feel like this would go a really long way in a journal theme. Just team it up with some favourite stickers in a similar colour scheme or something contrasting if you prefer, and I think it would be pretty easy to get things set up really quickly. Let's have a look at the brown version. These ones are a hexagonal shape rather than rectangles, and you actually get 2 frames and then the inner part on these, so each sticker is actually 3 stickers. Definitely a lot more visual weight with this colour because it is quite a bit darker than the pink that we have on the previous page. And the frame parts, the outer parts of these stickers, are kind of delicate, so I definitely recommend sticker tweezers if you have them for this kind of thing. You absolutely can still make it work with your fingers, but sticker tweezers are just making it easier to use a lighter hand. And yes, of course, Journalsay do also sell sticker tweezers. They actually have some that come in a set with a glue pen and a little craft knife that is just fantastic. And that little scraper thing that I always use in my videos to stick down larger stickers, that comes in the set too. So I couldn't recommend that enough. I use that set all the time. This swatch page has become kind of an interesting little work of art in itself. I think that looks kind of cool. But let's move on to a more traditional style of washi tape. This one is a super wide washi tape. It's 80mm wide or 8 centimeters wide, and this one has Journalsay branding on it as well, which I find really interesting. It's the only item in its listing, so it's not one of a bunch of different options. And they are a series of vertically oriented artworks, and they are so beautiful. But they're also all different. So usually when you get a PET or a washi tape roll, it's a design loop of a certain length that then repeats. These ones are all different, and I rolled out the whole thing trying to work out if there was an end. And I got to about here and thought, this is wild. Is this a particular artist's work? And I actually Google reverse image search to see if I could work that out. Inconclusive, unfortunately. If you are someone who has the kind of stationery paralysis that causes you to hold on to things for a long time because you don't want to use the sticker, this kind of roll is probably not the one for you. This next tape is the same kind of concept, so all of the little vignettes on this one are of the same thing. They're of lanterns in kind of a dark scene, but I think these ones are AI generated because how do you get this many of a particular scene without kind of doing that? Like if you had one artist making this, it would take them so long. That said, I could be wrong. These could be actually all designed by humans. I can't tell with this one, but my suspicion says AI because this kind of thing would be so easy to do. You know, people put in a prompt and it generates 4 images anyway. They could use all of those and then just say regenerate, and it would continue to make more and more until they had however many they wanted for their role. So that's what I'm thinking has happened here, but I don't know for sure. This is speculation. I also don't really have a need for this many images of lanterns, so I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do with this one. I still usually try to use the AI stuff that I end up with because I don't want to waste the items that I have in my stash, but I don't know about that one. This is another one that's the same kind of deal, although this one is a PET tape, although these ones I think are photographs. It's hard to tell because they're kind of this X-ray style like PET clear background situation, but I think they're photographs of water, but again, they are all different. It is much easier to come up with a whole stack of close-up photographs of water than it is of painted images of lanterns though, so this one makes me less suspicious. And I feel like it's also maybe a bit easier to use because you could just read a bunch of books that are set at the beach and use them all in a reading journal and you're good to go. I'm a little overwhelmed by this different image all across a tape thing. I think I am maybe a little safer in my comfortable boundaries of repeated loops. So that's the washi tape and PET tape section. We're going to move on now to stamps. If you've ever harbored a fantasy of being a librarian, now you can live that fantasy with this cute little date stamp. Isn't it fun? I actually got one of these in an Archer and Olive subscription box in 2023, and lots of people asked me where I got it, but you can't get that one anymore because they just do limited runs for those boxes. So I'm really glad I have somewhere I can direct people now when I do use that stamp, or this one because I have one of each. The date range on this one goes from 2023 up to 2034, so you can use it for some time, although it will kind of age out after that. And there are a few symbols there that you can use as well if you need that. Also, I think it's kind of funny that you can make dates that don't exist, like I stamped the 57th of September. But yeah, never was a cloudy day. Then we have this set of number stamps, and these ones are a really fun kind of a slab serif font. They're a little bit old-timey feeling. I think they're really cute. Simultaneously decorative and functional for bullet journal purposes, I would probably use these to stamp the dates on my weeklies if I wasn't using the date stamp that we just had a look at. They're definitely quite chunky and bold. They're not a small stamp by any means, but they are rubber mounted to wood, which means that they would work really well with my preferred stamping method, which is paint markers, not actually an ink pad like I'm using to demonstrate them here. Although this number 2 wasn't stuck down very well, I just gave it a little squish and it seemed to be okay. It's still stamped fine, so I don't think it's anything to worry about. You know what though, I don't know if I recommend tipping all of the stamps out like this because I now don't know where they sat in the box originally. Ordinarily that's fine with numbers, but when you get up to the 6 and the 9, I couldn't tell which was which, and honestly, it probably doesn't really matter. Like, look how similar they are. They are essentially just the same stamp oriented in 2 different directions, but I do kind of wish I'd known which one was which to start with. That's okay. The reason I tipped them out is because they come in a little cardboard box and it was actually quite difficult to take them out one at a time. Definitely much more difficult than with my stamp sets that come in little wooden boxes, but it's certainly not a prohibitive complaint that would make me say, don't get this. I think they're really nice. Solid chance you'll see these making an appearance in one of my journal setups really soon. You also get a colon and a percentage sign, which is nice when you're working with numbers. This stamp is purely decorative though, and so pretty but a little tricky to work with. I think this is the realm of the card making people more than my journal background, so I don't entirely know what I'm doing here, but this is a really cool way to decorate a large space in one go because this stamp will cover almost a whole A5 page. You're supposed to mount this kind of thing to an acrylic block. I couldn't be bothered to walk across the room and get mine, and I also don't think it's entirely big enough for this entire stamp, so I'm just going to keep it on the plastic that it came on rather than peeling it off. And I'm using a VersaFine Onyx Black ink pad because that's not going to dry down super quickly, which means I can have enough time to stamp the whole thing and flip it over onto the page while it's still wet. If you did this with a paint marker, I think it would dry down partially before you could get the whole thing covered and then onto the page. So things to consider, but so pretty. Look at that. It's like a tapestry. Our next category is paper, which is things that are not self-adhesive, and I'm a little confused by this item, to be honest. I got the whole set of these street lamp paper pieces, and I don't really know what to make of them. So they come on sheets, so they're kind of well protected. They are cut out shapes. It's a little tricky to see what they are there on the page, but I didn't want to pop them out because then I might damage them, and if I decide to move them out of my collection it will be harder for the person I move them onto. But they are this cool little street lamp situation, and the way they're cut means that they are easy to pop out of the backing. They almost seem like they should be part of a larger papercraft project, like they're a component of something bigger. I don't know, and I don't really know what I'll do with these, but I do think they're pretty cute, especially the street lamps obviously are really nice. These ones are actually loose, like they've fallen out already from where they were supposed to be, so you can get a better idea of those ones. But a couple of them have little extra decorations, like these ones have some bats on them, but it's like bat wings on the treble clef, which is a bit weird. Some of them have cats on some of the other sets, so pretty cute. Maybe fun for Halloween, kind of a Victorian Gothic vibe with the black ones. I don't know. It wouldn't be a Journalsay haul without a questionably titled item, and this one is the Cardiac Cycle series Think Back frame papers? Whatever, I don't know. This is kind of a paper cousin to the washi tape rolls that we looked at earlier with the lace frames on them, because these ones are also frames that have multiple layers of pre-cut perforation kind of aligned to them. Loving the Princess Bride reference here, as you wish. So you can cut out like the middle part versus the frame that's outside of that versus the outer frame. It's much easier to see on the back actually where those lines are, so you can separate everything. And nice color variety in the pack too. And then we have this tiny notebook keyring, which is just the most adorable thing ever. This is available in a bunch of colors as well. I went for a light blue that also has a little satin motif embossed in the front here. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen. It's like the size of 3 of my thumbnails. It kind of functions like a traveler's notebook, so it has the leather, actually I would assume faux leather cover because of the price range, and then there's a little insert in the inside that is held in with elastic, and there's an elastic closure. It's on a little key ring, it's got a little clasp on it. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this, but I am so excited about it all the same. Actually, if you have suggestions, please let me know. What should I use this tiny notebook for? Our next stationery category is pens, and I have 2 varieties of pen, 3 different packs to show you, starting with these acrylic paint markers. I've chosen the version here called Color of Skin series, which is a range of pinks and beiges, but they have these available in actually a stack of different color families. This is just one color family out of 8 different varieties, and it has this little spinny ball on the end. I don't know what that's about, but it was really fun to play with. I'm a bit of an aficionado of paint markers. I know what I like and I know what I don't, and I'm really impressed with these ones. They have a brush tip, so they could work really well on stamps. The way I keep talking about using acrylic paint markers on stamps, these would be fantastic for that. They're quite opaque, which isn't always the case with solid color acrylic paint markers like this. Often the metallic ones are, but not the standard colors. The brush tip is really nice and flexible, so you can get a great up and down stroke going there. The first one I used is not quite white, it's kind of a creamy color, which is a really nice variance for my collection. I don't have one like that. In fact, I don't have any colors like this really at all across my collection. I don't know if I'd say that they're skin tone colored necessarily. There's quite a bit of rosiness going on here, but I do think they're quite lovely. I'm actually impressed enough with these that I would get these again in a different color pack just to expand my collection further. Let's take a closer look. They haven't completely dried down yet, but they are very matte when they do. I think these are lovely. Now I'm trying to work out which is the closest to my skin tone, as though I'm trying to match a foundation. Also, each pen does have a color name, it's just on the top of the lid. I missed that at first. Next we have 2 sets of brush pens from the same listing. You gotta be careful with this listing though, because not all of them are brush pens. I think some of them are fine liners, so if you're after brush pens, make sure you have the right option selected. I got these in the tropical set, which is what we will swatch here first, and also the glacial set, which we will swatch second. The brand for these is called Chroma, but it's spelled without an H, and that's actually really awkward to write. My brain really wanted to put the H in there, and in fact I will for one of them by accident, but these impressed me as well. They handle really similarly to the Pentel brush sign pens, whatever those are called. They have like 100 names, maybe kind of similar to the Tombow Fudenosuke soft tip brush pens as well. They're a fairly small brush tip, so they're good for small spaces, but you can still get a really clear, defined, thin upstroke and thicker downstroke if you're doing some calligraphy lettering with these. I was trying to find the name of the color, maybe in a similar place to the paint markers that I swatched just before this. I don't know, I couldn't find it. It did end up turning out that it was written on the barrel of the pen. It was just quite small, so I missed it. Oops, there's the H in Chroma that isn't supposed to be there for this brand name, but we'll roll with it. It looks much more normal to have it there. They have these in a couple of other color packs as well, in case the glacial or the tropical aren't quite your jam. And I've noticed that the listing also claims these are waterproof. I didn't test that theory. I would have my doubts, but if you want me to try and spill some water on the journal to find out, let me know. Also, this is where the names of the colors are. It's just above the word brush there. They're really, really small. The bottom one is amethyst. We've got turquoise, lake, and lunar. I would have included those names in my swatches if I had realized they were there before I started my system, but we've only got 1 pen left, so I'm just going to continue with the system that I have been doing so far. If you're looking for a really affordable brush pen that is likely going to make your hand lettering look better, I think these are a really good option. I'm surprised and impressed with all of the pens that I'm showing you in this video. And for our final category, we have stationery tools, starting with one that has actually appeared throughout this video a few times already. If you had sharp eyes, maybe you noticed it already. It is this little clip that is shaped like a fleur-de-lis. I'm a bit of a history buff, so I love stuff like this, but if you haven't come across a fleur-de-lis before, it's a stylized lily flower that is used in a lot of heraldry and royal insignia in France. And now it can hold my journal pages open. I think it's so pretty. It's a lot smaller than some of the other journal clips I've used before. It is quite heavy and dense, so I think over time it might leave a mark, but I think it's really nice. Our next item is kind of an 8-in-1. This is a cutting tool, kind of similar to my straight edge cutting tool that I use all the time in my videos, which you can also get on Journalsay. But this one's kind of freeform because it doesn't have a bottom part. You just whack it on top of whatever piece of paper you want to cut and do it in situ. You just pop a little cutting mat behind it and off you go. I also got this cutting mat in a previous haul, just quietly. And all those colourful containers down the left side of the screen there are alternate heads that you can use to cut with this thing. But it didn't come with any instructions about how to change that out, so I had quite a struggle here. I was trying to work out how to remove it from the frame. I was having absolutely no luck. I actually had to turn to the internet. This video was also no help actually. What worked for me in the end was using Google Translate to translate the text that was on the packaging because it was in Chinese, and then I was able to work out that you have to slide the little cutting bit up to a particular part of the base, and there's a notch that you can slide out one side of it and then slide it along to reach the notch again with the other half and pop that part out as well, and it pops back in the same way. So it's actually really easy once you get the hang of it, but oh my goodness. So all of the edges that these ones cut are different. So the purple one I've got here has a wave edge. I'm trying to cut it on black so that you can see what's going on here, so you can see the difference between the edges of the pages. The yellow has a scalloped edge, so it's going to look different again. It does feel a little insecure. I'm not used to having my cutting tools just kind of float like this, but I think the scalloped edge is really pretty. This peachy one refers to itself as Victorian, which seems kind of vague, but I do really like the cut that it makes here. I feel like you just have to see it to understand. It's like a very fancy edge. It's quite detailed. Then we have deckled, which is this kind of aqua blue color. This is what you get on books sometimes when they have that torn edge on the pages. I had a reading journal that I gave away that had a deckled page edge on it that was from Archer and Olive as well. So this one gives the effect that you have a deckled edge. It's not actually tearing it, but it sort of looks like an organic line, and I think that's really cool actually. This one I think is going to be so handy. The orange one is to perforate, so it's not actually going to cut all the way through the paper. It's just going to cut a little perforated line so that if you want to tear it in the future, that's something you can do really easily. In fact, I'm going to give it a go just to demonstrate, and look how easily this came apart. This is fantastic for if you were making flyers that you wanted to be able to tear apart or something, or one of those community notice board things with tear away the phone number stuff. That'd make your life so much easier. This grey one is called dotted, and I don't really understand its purpose because it's the same kind of idea as perforated, except that I found that this didn't really tear. Like it made a dot here that looks like a perforation, but when I went to try and tear it, it didn't really want to go. It does make it easier to fold though, so I don't know, maybe that's a consideration. Not sure I'd get a lot of use out of that one, but it does indeed exist. And the last one is to score, which is where it will make a really light cut in the paper that doesn't go all the way through, which is intended to make it easier to fold. Fantastic if you're making a card or something like that. I think this would be more effective on thicker paper. I was trying it on this like 80 GSM printer paper, and it didn't really help me with the folding, but then this stuff isn't hard to fold in the first place, so kind of superfluous. And our last item for this video is also for cutting paper, but this one is a corner rounding tool. And I do already have a corner rounding tool, and this is from the same brand, but this one's really fun because instead of 3 angles of corner rounding, it actually has 4. So we're going to work our way around. This first one is the tightest corner. It keeps it very kind of square and just takes off the very sharpest bit. The next one is the one that I usually prefer for my journals to round off page edges of Dutch doors like this. It really mimics the natural edge of the journal when you have rounded pages. You can see it in comparison to the sharper one that I did first there. I love rounding the corners of my Dutch doors and my waterfall tabs. I just think it really elevates things. This one is the widest of the curves, so the round shape is a bit longer than the previous 2. And then there's one more that's actually underneath the button. I thought that might be kind of awkward to use, but it turned out to be completely okay. And rather than rounding the corner in a way that mimics the way that the page edges are rounded anyway, this one actually takes a little divot out. I accidentally got 2 pages there rather than just one, so it was a bit thicker, but isn't it interesting? I don't know when I'd ever use that, but I love that I have the option now. Each of those options are really clearly marked on the top of the device here, so you can see what you're going to get before you make your cut. And this one has this clear cover on the bottom as well that will hold in the bits of paper that you've cut, which is a huge upgrade from the old model. I really like that. If you were wanting to get your hands on everything that I have procured in this haul, how much would that actually cost you? I have 2 prices to show you because of the sale. I ordered this before the sale started, and the total was $150.31 US at that time, but everything is a lot cheaper now. So at the anniversary sale prices, the total is $131.98 US, but of course you can pop in my code Erin and get 8% off and bring it down to $113.65 US. I would love to hear your thoughts on these items. Is there anything that you're running and adding to your cart right now? Do you already have any of these items in your stationery collection? And what would you like to see me use in a journal setup first? If you're really feeling the stationery haul vibes and you'd like to watch some more, here is a link to a playlist of all of my stationery videos on my channel, and underneath that is a link to a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.